Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Janet, the Journal Keeper. Welcome back if you've been before this. If this is your first visit to my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing and giving me a thumbs up. Today is part 2 of putting together a Edith Holden Spring and Summer ring-bound journal. If you've seen part 1, you'll have seen how we started out with the pages and talked about the construction of the journal. And also prior to part 1, I did a flip through of the autumn winter ring bound journal that I'd been working on. So this is a bit along the same lines as that. I've used vintage book papers from a children's book, which I've sewn together, and we are now decorating the pages, putting them together, and then I've had to make a cover for this one because I'd used a cover of the book in the autumn winter one. So we'll be putting the holes and rings in after everything's decorated, and then we'll add things like tags and notebooks or notepads, whatever, mini journals, things like that, put in there. First, on the other side, most of them were just Edith Holden and sort of not a lot else. But I decided on this side that we'd add in some vintage paper for collage and some coloured papers as well. I have this old book that my husband brought home from, I think it was an Amnesty bookstore, a book stall. And I was a bit annoyed, and I said, well, what have you brought that home for? Everything a woman ought to know. But at the time, this was before I started journaling. But now I have this lovely vintage book that has everything from, it's quite fun to read it, really, when you know, how to run a home and things. It's a bit like Mrs. Beeton's book. Anyway, this is, I think I looked at the date, it was 1904. So it's right about the time that Edith Holden was actually writing her journals. So I thought that was appropriate that we use some of those sheets for collaging. So I'll just go through, and then we'll what I've prepped for the pages, and then I'll move these out and we'll do one by one. This one, let's move that out, has a tuck spot cut in here. This is 2 pages sewn together, and we'll be able to put a little notebook or mini journal in there. So I cut one page way because I wanted to get the daffodils all together there. So those pieces are going to be glued in place there. This page, I've made some a little hinge on these here, and we're going to have top and bottom hinge with it'll be like the policy document with the 2 sort of buttons, and I think I've got those here. They'll go there, and there'll be a string around. I've got some brads to put them in place with. So we're going to use the book pages, and I've also got some other bits to put on there as well. I do want to have some just plain journal pages for obviously for journaling on. So I have done some tea-dyed paper, and so there'll be 2 or 3 of those anyway, at least. This one is a tuck up here, which I've chosen some pale yellow paper and cut some text and picture of the song thrush in the nest, and then there's a little poem about that. And I thought here we could just do some collage. There's another little tuck spot in the bottom as well. This one, as you see here, it was sewn and has a pocket and pocket here and here. So this had some sewing on here which I wanted to cover, so I decided to use I've cut up one of the pages and we'll join that together with this page from the book, and then I thought, you know, we might collage on that or do something with that. I think we'll just glue that around here, which will then make a tuck spot. The Pretty April chapter picture is on here with some pale yellow paper, which I sewed around for this big pocket here. You can see that I've gessoed the print out, just to kind of knock it back a little bit, and but you do still see it throughout the book, and those will be glued in place there. Another journal page. This one I put on. I do them in the oven. I don't dry them, sort of hang them to dry. I put them on baking trays, and this was a pizza tray with holes in it, and it's made this sort of cute little pattern on there. And this one, I have yet to come up with an idea what to do with this, because I don't want, you know, to cover these lovely pictures up too much. So I was thinking about maybe a tuck spot here and one at the bottom. I still haven't quite decided. That's got a pocket there, and I think we might do some collage there. So here, if you haven't seen part one, these are the covers. I've padded them and covered them in this Tim Holtz material. I believe it's called Camden Lock. It was the closest thing to sort of flowery, and it has the lovely cream background, which most of the pages do in Edith Holden. And I've done some collage in here. I sewed around each one to give it some extra support. I put music paper and then collaged on the top of that. So we'll put those aside and we'll carry on. Okay. First of all, we'll put these in place. I hope you're all well today. We have another cold day. And the good thing is that the builders next door haven't turned up with this cold weather. So I haven't had to come out in the dark virtually to do my video. So I'm hoping it'll be a bit lighter. I have some new windows for the studio, and I'm hoping also the light will be better once they're put up. And they haven't been put up as yet because I have found someone to extend my studio. The cost of a whole new one was unbelievable, and I've had a gentleman who's done some work in the house for me, and I said, would it be possible to extend my studio? And he said, oh yes, I can do that. So we are extending it, and I'm so pleased. So we haven't put the windows in until, you know, he's sort of done his thing. I think I'm going to paint it on the inside as well, make it a little brighter. Rather than the wood colour, it'll be white. So yes, I'm really looking forward to all that. So perhaps when it gets all done, I'll take some pictures of it. Right. Now, I've talked a lot about the sewing that I've done. I mean, clearly not everybody will be a sewer. I'm not that much of a sewer, but I have started back with doing this when I started journaling. I hadn't touched a sewing machine in decades, but I am enjoying doing that. But clearly not everybody will have access to a sewing machine or feel able to do that. But I mean, there is no reason that you cannot just glue these. All this can be done with just gluing. You could decorate the edges with some faux stitching using a rollerball pen in whatever colour you wanted to match, you know, what you're doing. So don't be put off by the fact that I'm doing my sewing on there. Yeah, it's going to be a nice pocket there. Okay. Now this one, I think we'll put this down first. It's quite interesting to read the recipes in the cooking pot. Yeah, probably not. I mean, some things we still eat today, but a lot of the things we wouldn't eat now. Probably find them a bit too heavy and stodgy. I do like cooking. I found a recipe for a beef stew and did it in my crock pot the other night because it's so much cheaper electricity wise using your crock pot or your electric cooker than the oven, and it was really tasty. I've had a problem with that before, that it's not turned out how I liked it, but this was really good. I think that needs a bit more trim there. It's a bit crooked. Oh, that's a bit better. Oh. Right, we'll glue these two pieces together first. So if you do have a crock pot and you like to use it, it is a lot cheaper to use that to cook a meal in, even though you cook it for a longer time than you would in the oven. It is a cheaper way to do it because it doesn't use much electricity. From what I have read anyway. I've been reading a lot of sort of people doing a surveys of what uses the most electric and when and how and that sort of thing. That's still not quite right. Okay, well, that's in the middle, so that'll do. Right, so I'm going to stick that down. We'll use some. Oh, it's so cold in here. I bet the glue's going to be really bunged up. we'll just have to stick with that for now. The glue stick, I think. We had flooding here last week. We had our flood barriers all up along the river, which obviously have saved people that live right there on the older part of the town, saved their homes from flooding. Okay. Right, we're just putting these together first and then we'll do the decorating later. Okay, next one. I've got put the glue near the fire to the heater. Try to warm it up a little bit because I want it to glue the journal pages. Ready for decorating. Okay, this one is going to be the little flip up pockets like this, top and bottom. I think they're the two put some paper on here first. Let's run that up a bit. Paper is quite fragile, so be quite careful of it. Right, so we've got the hinges here on the top and bottom. Just trying to prop this glue bottle up so it'll drip down, because it's got a little bit left in it to use up. Let's get that open. I think we will use this PVA glue to glue these on. Actually, I should have put that on after I'd stuck these on. Yes, that's a boo-boo. Never mind. We'll work that out. Yeah, I should have put this cover on over the hinge part, so that's all right. I'll just put something over that there and here later on when that's dry. Okay. Right, so I thought I would use some of this paper again. Smaller, that will be fine on there. And then I've got pieces there that we need to make a bit smaller, I think. Crooked, straighten that up. So those will be I think that's really strong enough to cut some more out, I think, and make some more of that. Right, so I'm going to glue those together, put the brads in, and then I think I will cut these corners. That looks a bit better. actually cover those with a bit of the paper from here, just the top part. That might be. It just fits on that scrap there. I think that'll look nicer. Yeah, it will. Well, we're coming up to just over half an hour now, so I think I'm going to leave it there, and we will come back to finishing off the pages and then doing some collage and continuing on with our Edith Holden ring-bound journal. So I do thank you all very much for watching. I hope you'll come back for part 3. I will leave links in the description box to part 1 and to the winter ring-bound journal, which is, as I said, same construction as this is going to be. Cover slightly different, obviously, but in general it is the same sort of thing. And I'll also put a link to Natasha at Treasure Books. She has a video that is entirely dedicated to doing the folds and pockets and different types of things. She's doing it in an altered book, but I mean it's still the same, it's just that we removed the pages. So and it's quite an interesting video, gives you ideas on all sorts of different ways to fold your pages to make different things. So I'll link that as well. So I'll say goodbye for now. I hope you all stay well and safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.